This is Qtv News and I am Jenna Bosonko. Thanks for joining us. First, the main local, international and sports news headlines. The OIC Secretariat announces progress on a massive infrastructure project which will see the construction of 20 new roads ahead of the 2022 OIC Summit in the Gambia. The Fonyi Agency for Rural Development makes significant donation of medical equipments to some hospitals in Fonyi. We hear about the massive fumigation and community sensitization initiative in the capital. In international news, today the 17th August 2020 marks the 60th independence anniversary of the former French colony of Gabon. And the former president of Malawi sees his and his wife's accounts frozen as a corruption investigation gets underway. In sports news, Diabuku Bataba in the Sandu district of the Upper River region is to get a community self-financed mini stadium. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Stay with us. Thank you for joining us. Now, a Saudi-based architectural engineering and planning company in partnership with a Gambian-based company have won the bids to design and supervise the construction of the 50-kilometer urban road project within the Greater Banjul area ahead of the 2022 OIC Summit. Babukar C has more.
The Gambia OIC Secretariat last week announced the recruitment of PACE and GAMEX as the companies to undertake the project. In an exclusive interview with QTV, Yankuba Diba, the Chief Executive Officer, confirms that everything is in line and work is expected to start soon, as the target is to have all the projects run concurrently.
Negotiations have just concluded with the contractors. It's just a question of now signing the contract. As I said, one of them, the contract has already been signed. For instance, the hotel, we are also at the negotiation stage. Hopefully within the next 8 weeks or less, we might be signing the contract for the hotel, which is $100 million. Yeah, the VVIP lounge at the airport is at $10.5 million, and the contract, the work for NAWEC, the water and electricity combined, is $32.5 million. So already we have secured all the funding, except maybe for the battle hardening, but we've secured almost 3/4 of the funds.
CEO Diba also talked about the signing and agreements with other contractors to be finalized in the coming weeks. On the issue of having an international firm partner with a local company, Mr. Diba said this is an opportunity for the local companies to expand their knowledge and gain experience from foreign companies.
All our projects, we insist on local content. All of these consultants and contractors must have Gambian local partners and must work with them. One is to be able to build the necessary capacity and also to transfer know-how. And of course, to benefit the local economy, after all.
The news will be welcomed, particularly by those living within the Greater Banjul area. The question that will be in the minds of critics would be about the quality and longevity of the roads, as many of our roads never last long before beginning to show signs of wear and tear.
Our stakeholders and ourselves have factored the need for us to have roads that are really, really sustainable. And as I told you, this is why our process is a bit slow. Those who are designing are not the ones building. And I can assure you that all our roads are going to be first-class roads. They are going to have street lighting. They are going to have drainage systems. They are going to have hard shoulders. And where applicable, they will have bicycle paths also.
Once completed, the new roads are expected to ease pressure on major highways and facilitate easy and fast movement of people and services, and also create jobs, boost local commerce, and significantly improve the urban infrastructure. Babukar C, QTV News.
Over $400,000 worth of medical items have been presented to a hospital and 2 clinics by the Fonyi Agency for Rural Development in collaboration with the Gambia Volunteers Trust and partners. Amadou Oba attended the presentation and he fastened this report.
The medical equipment include PPEs, gloves, stitcher boxes, specimen transport boxes, emergency drip boxes, infusion set boxes, sterile water boxes, and an oxygen machine. The items are for Buyam General Hospital, Sintet, and Bataput Kantora Health Centers in Fonyi to help strengthen the health sector in rural communities. At the presentation ceremony in Buyam, the chairman of FAD, Lantombon Tamba, expressed gratitude to the Gambia Volunteers Trust and highlighted the thorough assessment made in identifying the intended beneficiaries. He called on other organizations to partner with FAD for rural development.
We were able to make a substantial contribution towards the operation of this hospital. And of course, you are already aware that not only is FAD contributing in terms of medical equipment, but we are trying to improve the conditions of the hospital by adopting a ward here, that is the female ward, and trying to improve the condition of the ward.
Alaji Baji, a representative of the Gambia Volunteers Trust in the Gambia, thanked their major supplier, the UK-based MedAid Edinburgh. Mr. Baji also acknowledged the significant bond between FAD donor partners and the beneficiaries.
We are no more strangers to each other, FAD, BUYAM, and the Gambia Volunteers. We also want to thank our volunteers that are in UK, because they are the ones that are moving from one hospital to another. They are the ones that are moving from one university to another to collect these items.
Dr. Mamadi Cham, the Chief Executive Officer of Buyam General Hospital, expressed gratitude, saying the donated items will go a long way towards improving the lives of people.
This hospital is located in Buyam, in Fonyi, but it's not only serving Fonyi, it's serving Gambia as a whole, and all travelers and non-Gambians, and also our neighboring Senegal. That is why if we make these hospitals functional as it should be, we are making a social security for our own lives.
I am happy with FAD. This is what is expected from them. Government cannot do it alone. It is our collective responsibility to develop our country. We desperately need support for medical equipment. Your donation is timely, as we have already opened the boxes and put the materials into use. The Gambia Volunteers Trust is an international voluntary organization helping to enhance the dignity and to improve the lives of people living in poverty. Since its establishment in 2018, this is the third time that FAD has supported the Buyam General Hospital with medical items and also adopted its maternity ward, which is in its final stage of refurbishment. The chairman of FAD, Lantombon Tamba, also reminded the people of the existence and dangers of COVID-19, advising them to adhere to the health guidelines and be compliant with the state regulations. For QTV News, I am Amadou Oba.
One Gambia COVID-19, in collaboration with the Banjul branch of the Red Cross, carried out a fumigation exercise starting with the streets in Banjul and surrounding households in order to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Mariama Fall reports.
The initiative is to eradicate the increase of the coronavirus pandemic in the Gambia and also to serve as an example to other communities. One Gambia COVID-19 is an organization founded by young Gambians residing in Banjul, which aims to arrest the surge of the coronavirus. One of their projects is a fumigation schedule for areas of the capital, namely Banjul South, Banjul Central, and Banjul North. Pa Malik Juve, president of One Gambia COVID-19, explained how and why they formed the organization.
Since everybody knows the seriousness of this disease, we decided to come together as a group and see how best we can fight to eradicate this virus out of our community. So that's why we came up with the name One Gambia, to make sure that everyone living in this country is united, come together and find ways and means of getting this disease out of the country.
He further states that they took the opportunity to sensitize the people, as there are still a few who don't believe in the existence of the virus. Abdullah Ba, the area youth representative with the Banjul branch of the Red Cross, has this to say.
They came up with the initiative that they want to fumigate the whole city, that is going house to house. So they have to come to the Red Cross and seek for our assistance. That is, we help them, that is, they will give us the resources and the materials, then we go house to house and do the fumigation for them.
Mr. Harvis Coker, a member of the organization, pleads with every Gambian to wear their face masks, observe social distancing, and to wash their hands regularly. Mr. Ebu Faye, a member of the organizing committee, explains how they carried out the fumigation during the curfew.
Yeah, last week we started the sensitization. In the afternoon, we'll do the sensitization, and in the evening, during the curfew time, we'll fumigate the streets, which we were able to do throughout the last weekend. And then we have radio programs where we have, sensitization program. And moving next week, we'll bring on experts to talk about the dangers of COVID-19.
He thanked all those who took part in the initiative to complement government's efforts, especially their donors and the Red Cross team. He urges people in the diaspora to also contribute towards efforts to combat the deadly disease. He revealed to QTV that after the fumigation project, they will do a mass distribution exercise. Reporting for QTV News, I am Mariam Afal.
As part of the efforts to contain the spread of COVID-19, the youths of Busumbala on Monday took to the streets and the main market to sensitize the community about coronavirus pandemic and the precautionary measures put in place by the WHO and the Ministry of Health. Loli M. Camara has more.
The Busumbala COVID-19 emergency response team was set up by the youths of the village to sensitize and create more public awareness on the coronavirus disease and also to help prevent the further spread of the virus. According to members, they will be organizing a series of activities to help the community, including fundraising to support them with food relief and making sure the community adheres to the precautionary health measures by helping them with materials to facilitate their stay at home. Suleiman Jata, a team member, outlined the urgent need for a public awareness and sensitization while calling on the community to always follow the guidelines given by the WHO and the Ministry of Health.
Around all the corners of Busumbala, and by far it has been successful. Side by side by the sensitization, we are also doing fundraising. Those funds we gather from individuals, shop owners alike in the village, so as to help us provide relief service and packages to the vulnerable and needy in the village.
Alhaji Usman Fati, another team member, said the team is out to enlighten the community about the dangers of the virus and says they are also reminding them about the proper wearing of a face mask, as many are not taking it seriously enough.
Proper wearing of face mask, not because we have seen by far some people will just wear any type of mask. We are also trying to distinguish with them the type of masks that are suitable to prevent the COVID-19. And then, just like the previous speaker have just said, COVID-19 is something very serious because it has made us not to be able to go by our social activities that we are known for and we used to, which are the naming ceremonies and then our weddings, as well as other social activities. So, by virtue of that, it is very much tormenting and frustrating for the people that are living in this country.
Adam Tiyabo outlines the impact of COVID-19 on women and girls since the outbreak in March.
How COVID-19 has an impact on women and girls, especially in the areas of sex. It's unfortunate that most people who are in denial, women are at the forefront, or we are in the majority. And it is affecting a lot of women because if we can see, there are a lot of cases of rape that have been reported. And if you look at statistics and we make research, you can see that a lot of women have been complaining about abuse since the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. So in our sensitization, we try to include all this so that women can understand the dangers that they are facing and the impact that COVID-19 can have on them.
Ibrahim Njai, the initiator of the project, and Lamin Sano all commended the efforts of the team. Sensitizations have been going on about the coronavirus pandemic since the announcement of the first case in the Gambia in March this year, and cases are on the rise. For QTV News, Loli M. Camara.
We will go for a short commercial break. When we come back, the news continues with some local, international, and sports news. Do stay tuned. Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV News. Now, T-Junction Foundation, a community-based organization, has embarked on a massive distribution of face masks to cut the rate of transmission among family members in Basse. Alaji A.F. Jallo reports.
Operation Face Mask in every household in Basse. T-Junction Foundation behind the initiative. Government cannot do it all in the fight against this deadly coronavirus pandemic. As such, various organizations are stepping up to do what they can. The T-Johnson Foundation, a charitable organization in Basse, founded with the aim of giving back to their community, has joined the fight by distributing more than 2,000 face masks to families with the aim of targeting every household. At the presentation ceremony, Samuel Gomez, the organization's logistics officer, expressed his delight at this timely intervention, citing that the 27-year-old organization was founded with the ambition of uniting its people. Their members, both in the Gambia and in the diaspora, gather funds to address the pressing needs of their beloved people. He stressed the need for people to take this disease seriously and to strictly adhere to the preventive measures, saying that prevention is better than cure.
The main show today is T. Johnson Foundation that we're launching today to make sure that we, the citizens of Basse, especially the youth of T. Johnson, this T. Johnson Foundation has been here since, was formed since 1993, and then this is a fourth generation of youths that are in this community, and then now we have grown in this community, and then to give back to our own community, we feel that community-based intervention to be self-reliant, to support our government, because government cannot do it all. So when we formed this foundation, we came to realize that now our short-term goal will be to intervene in this coronavirus, which is the pandemic that is, making everybody scared, and then especially the people of URR.
Mr. Seni Kanute, the Basse Ward Councillor, thanked the organization for their foresight and called it an act of patriotism.
Thankful to the entire residents of T. Johnson. This is a clear manifestation, leading by example, and is also an emulation to the rest of entire corners of Basse, because T. Johnson always lead, and today they are manifesting another one. Coronavirus is real. They are definitely testifying to everyone it's real, and the protective measures issued to us by WHO should be respected, and then we should observe it at all times. This is why they came up with this initiative of the provision of face masks. This is good.
The Regional Task Force Health Promotion and Education Officer, Mr. Kelefa Kande, thanked the organization, highlighting that their effort complement those of the ministry in containing the virus. Mr. Kande said, distributing masks is one thing, but its usage is another. He stressed that their task force, in collaboration with the police, will go the extra mile to enforce the emergency regulations. He was, however, quick to warn people to be cautious about misinformation and emphasized that COVID-19 rate in URR is very high due to our porous borders.
The youths that have come with this initiative to see to it that the government proclamation of the mandatory use of this face mask, indicating that each and every person, wherever you are going, you need to get this mask. So the importance of what these youths have done cannot be emphasized. We don't look at the quantity, but we look at the intention of what they have done. Even it was only 2 masks that they prepared for 2 people. They are protecting the lives of 2 people. So it is a very important endeavor, and it's a very important activity, especially in a community like Basse.
Going into the streets of Basse, along with public health officers to sensitize the public and distribute masks, was embraced by the community. Women, children and elders rushed to the caravan to get a face mask. Reporting for Qtv News, I am Alaji A.F. Jallo.
In international news, today, the 17th of August 2020, marks the 60th independence anniversary of the former French colony of Gabon. As in most countries, Independence Day is a public holiday in Gabon. This year, the public holidays are on the 16th and 17th August, as the day follows Assumption on 15th August, thus creating a 3-day break. Omar Pijalo reports.
Gabon, a former French colony, got its independence in 1960. Since independence, the country has only had 3 presidents. The incumbent Ali Bongo Ondimba, who came to power in October 2009, after the death of his father Omar Bongo Ondimba, who led the country for 42 years, succeeding the country's first president, Jibril Lionba, who ruled from 1961 to 1967. In the early 1990s, Gabon introduced a political reform path, introducing a multi-party system, having previously been a one-party state, and a new democratic constitution that paved the way for supposedly more transparent electoral process. Since independence, Gabons follow a non-aligned policy advocating for dialogue in international affairs and recognizing each side of divided parties. The country plays an important leadership role in the stability of Central Africa through its involvement in the mediation between Chad, the Central African Republic, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Today, Gabon is rated as one of the most prosperous countries in sub-Saharan Africa. It has the 8th highest Human Development Index in Africa and the 4th highest in sub-Saharan Africa, according to statistics from the West African Development Bank, and the 3rd highest GDP per capita after Equatorial Guinea and Botswana. Gabon's oil revenue has given it a strong per capita GDP of $8,600. However, equal income distribution across the country remains a huge challenge, as most of the country's wealth are in the hands of just about 20% of the entire population. French is Gabon's official language, and it is also the medium of instruction. However, 32% of the people speak Fang as a mother tongue. Gabon is on the equatorial west coast of Africa and is one of the continent's richest, with large reserves of oil, uranium and manganese, as well as a forest full of okume trees used for making plywood. Approximately 88% of the country's population practice one of the denominations of Christianity. 6% practice Islam. The rest practice traditional religion or other religions. Libreville is the capital city. Its seafront road has parks and sculptures. The National Museum of Arts and Tradition exhibits tribal crafts such as masks and wood-carved artifacts. Near to the huge presidential palace is an open-air market selling a wide range of goods, from household items and local produce to traditional medicine. One of the most famous sportsmen from Gabon is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, currently with English Premier League side Arsenal. Reporting for Qtv News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
The Malawi Anti-Crime Bureau freezes accounts of former President Peter Mutharika and other state office holders over corruption allegations while investigations are carried out. Marie-Louise Nsanyang tells us more.
The former president of Malawi, Peter Mutharika, is being investigated regarding corruption under accusation over the duty-free importation of cement for the construction of his private property. He has denied all accusations. According to the Malawi Revenue Authority, MRA, ex-president Mutharika was given clearance to make the duty-free cement importation in 3 tranches, with each consignment valued at $2.24 million. While the investigations was underway, authorities claimed that the former president was withdrawing huge sums of money from his and his wife's joint account. These withdrawals led the Anti-Crime Bureau, ACB, acting in a grave investigation to order the freeze of his bank account and that of Malawi Revenue Authority, MRA, Deputy Director General Rosa Milizi's 3 accounts and those of Mutharika's top security aide Norman Chisali. The ex-president's lawyer said he has no detail about the issue. The 4 are being investigated for a corruption affair involving the controversial importation of millions of dollars worth of cement, allegedly using then-President Mutharika's duty-free status for setting precedents. The former president has previously rejected any suggestions of wrongdoings and denied having brought or instructed anyone to buy or import the cement in question on his behalf. Before Mutharika lost the June 23rd presidential election, the State House and the MRA on June 16 justified the transaction as within the law because it was personal use. The anti-corruption crackdown, which was initiated after the June 23rd presidential election, continues to investigate the case. Marie-Louise Nsanyang for Qtv News.
And now here is sports news. A community self-financed mini stadium is under construction in Diabugu Bataba in the Sandu district of Upper River region. Once built, the mini stadium will become one of the only 3 well-constructed venues in the region to host football and other sporting activities. This story by Fode Mane is narrated by Momodu Lamin Choi.
About $6 million is expected to be spent in the construction of a sporting ground for villages in Sandu and Diabugu area. The funds for the mini stadium come from contributions by the natives and residents of the village, both within the community and outside, according to Karim Cham, a member of the village sports committee. Karim says the contribution was entirely voluntary, and some who were not able to give cash offered their labor instead to ensure successful completion of the project. He also told us of his expectation of seeing the stadium hosting league games and other important football matches.
This is sponsored by the citizens of Diabu here, not private, not government, not any other NGO. They charge each diaspora to pay $10,000. Those in Diabu here and the combos, they don't put any amount on you. Any amount you can afford, you can do it. Those who cannot have money to pay, can come, we do the labor work. And our target is $6 million, whereby when we finish this, even a team can come from all the way from Senegal or Liberia or Sierra Leone. When they have a football game in the Gambia, they can even bring a team direct to Diabu here. These are our main targets.
The chairman of the village sports committee, Kasidi Juara, also highlighted that their plans include the hosting of a wide range of other sporting activities organized in the stadium, as they are expected to have a basketball and volleyball courts built within the area. Muhammadu Sise, a native of the village and also the regional youth chairperson of URR, explained how they would make the venue sustainable and had a message for the young of the village and the region.
Diabugu currently we already have a project subcommittee. In this project subcommittee, these are the people who are responsible of daily financial transaction of the project, and then which we hope again immediately after the completion of the project, there will be a lot of capacity building for this project committee to make sure that to proper manage the structure. It's not only about having in place a ground or a structure to make sure that people can use it in terms of football or any sporting discipline, but it's also important to make sure that how best this can be sustainable.
On completion, this mini stadium will become the second to be constructed from a community self-funded project in URR after the Sabi Football Park, as there are insufficient and inadequate sporting venues in the provinces. This sporting arena will contribute greatly towards improving the life and careers of young sportswomen and men, most especially in URR. Modlamin Choi, Qtv News.
Before we end this news bulletin, let's take a quick look at our main stories. The OIC Secretariat has announced progress on a massive infrastructure project which will see the construction of 20 new roads ahead of the 2022 OIC Summit in the Gambia. The Fonyi Agency for Rural Development has made a significant donation of medical items to some hospitals in Fonyi. We heard about a massive fumigation and community sensitization initiative in the capital. In international news, today the 17th of August 2020 marks the 60th anniversary of the former French colony of Gabon. And the former president of Malawi has seen his and his wife's accounts frozen as a corruption investigation gets underway. In sports news, Diabugu Bataba in the Sandu district of Upper River region is to get a community self-financed mini stadium. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Do join us tomorrow, same time for more news. Stay safe.